There would be no such thing as a Juneteenth if there was no 4th of July.
What is Juneteenth?
What is Juneteenth? You know what Juneteenth is.
I don't know. You got
No idea?
no idea.
It's the celebration of, now don't ask me what state, where they took the state and they actually messed up the homes of all the blacks that lived there. They ruined it. And then now it's celebrated as Juneteenth.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Y'all need to go to Tatum Store to get this. So many people have bought this, it's like blowing my mind. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Check this shirt out. It says national champs. We get a little play on the national championship shirt. We got some other stuff like that. Our next bestseller is this one. Boom. America 250. We got some other stuff on there, but mentioning that, so go to tatumstore.com, and keep an eye out because we're gonna make 2 hats. And I forgot to tell my guy we need to make shirts to go with the hats. We're gonna make one from Romans 1:27. And if you're a Christian, you know what Romans 1:27 it is. If you don't know, if you're a Christian, go read it. Romans 1:27, and you'll know why I'm making it. And then we're gonna make one for the baseball players that wrote the scripture on the hat there. I think it's in Genesis. We're gonna make a hat that goes at that angle. Shout out to John Root. He came up with the idea. Me and him gonna partner on making a hat. So we're gonna make some merch related to give you something to wear to troll these people to finish out the month. So keep Tatum Store in your mind. Let me just be honest with you guys about this Juneteenth thing. I grew up in Texas. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, grew up in an all-black neighborhood. I never heard of Juneteenth. We never celebrated Juneteenth. That, to be honest, if you live in Texas or you anywhere living in America and you're not buying into this facade of a holiday that's thrown into the nation to give you black people a carrot and say, look what we did for you. And it's almost like black people just accept that. Everything they do, we'll give you a Martin Luther King Street. And they number thugging and killing on a Martin Luther King Street in every city in America. They think they give you a carrot and you accept it. There should be no federal holiday related to this unless it was a federal issue. This was something that happened in Galveston, Texas. This had nothing to do with the entire state of Texas, had nothing to do with the nation. And I'm going to point out, I'll do it right now so you don't have to wait to the end, but I'll point out some hypocrisies when it comes to Juneteenth that they don't want to tell you about. First and foremost, Juneteenth wasn't the last remnant of black people who were freed or notified that they were free. For an entire year after Juneteenth, the Choctaw Indian still had slaves. Black people were still enslaved by the Choctaw Indian. Now, they don't want to tell you that because they want you to know that Indians held slaves as well. They don't want you to know that. They just want you to know big, bad, boogie white man. The Native Americans had their slaves, and they were, a year later, released as slaves, and that was the last remnant of black people. They should have this holiday on that day, but they can't do it because they implicate Indians, Native Americans. That's why this is a fraud. One last thing, and then I'm gonna place a couple clips, and this tells you how people have no idea what Juneteenth really is, and you guys didn't hear about it until the 2020 fiasco. But let me just break this part down. When you look at all of the national holidays, all of the federal holidays, they were federal issues. They were federal accomplishments. 4th of July was our entire nation gaining its freedom. Juneteenth was Galveston, Texas. That's one city in the state of Texas. There is no other federal holidays that is focused on one particular city and one area, one dispensation of time related to one group of people. Do you know of none? It don't exist. All right, let's see what the people say. When they go out and interview people on the street, who knows what Juneteenth really is? Roll it.
What is Juneteenth?
What is Juneteenth? You know what Juneteenth is.
I don't know. You got
No idea?
no idea.
Is that is a celebration of, I don't want this to be wrong, so I don't want it to be on the news.
It's the celebration of, now don't ask me what state, where they took the state and they actually messed up the homes of all the blacks that lived there. They ruined it. And then now it's celebrated as Juneteenth.
I think basically it's a time for like little kids come together or something like that.
I mean, it's a long story. I know really what happened, but it was a Wall Street for the blacks. I think so.
For some reason, it's recognized as a holiday that there was a gap between when the people knew they were freed in, I believe, Texas, and they didn't learn until June 19th. So there was a period of time they're actually freed and didn't know it.
I think you might be right, but I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
All right.
But to me, it's a bizarre holiday because it's basically celebrating not knowing you're free.
So let me articulate this real quick for people, for all my people that love me, and we all on the same wavelength, all right? You got to think, when the Emancipation was signed, there was no cell phones. There was no internet. There was no TV broadcasting. They didn't go around and say, hey, tune in tonight on the live stream, I got some breaking news. So it took a while after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed for people to begin to get the memo that, yes, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. You are no longer obligated to be, enslaved by somebody. And there were places that the message did not get to, that they had to eventually go out and make sure every ends of the Southern slave, I guess, apparatus was notified. And Galveston, Texas was one of the last places. And so what are we doing? We're celebrating that black folks didn't know they were free? Like the white man said, that to me, it's not a real celebration. They had to find something to pit us against each other on, dangle a carrot for the black people, and cause confusion on real independence. There would be no such thing as a Juneteenth if there was no 4th of July. Okay, let's continue. We can skip over Damani. This one is an interesting one. Listen to what the Negroids had to say about this. Roll the clip.
I'm like, to me, the only people who should be really resting or partying on Juneteenth are black people. I feel like everyone who's non-black should be activating around how to support black people. Like that's the essence of Juneteenth, right? The holiday itself is about the end of enslavement. And like,
mind you, we wouldn't have Juneteenth if it weren't for the hundreds of thousands of white Civil War Union soldiers who fought to free black slaves. So Juneteenth really isn't just a black holiday. Juneteenth is all of America. Whether you celebrate it or not, me personally, I really don't celebrate it. I don't see a reason for it. I'm good with the 4th of July as my Independence Day. That's what I've always celebrated. That's what I always will celebrate. But if you celebrate Juneteenth, to call it just a black holiday is dishonest, because it wasn't like black folks, black slaves at the time, did it by themselves. There were white soldiers from the Union side who fought for the freedom of black people. So it's for everyone. It really is for everyone, whether you're black, white, whatever. It's for everyone.
And let me add this. If it wasn't for the white people, again, fighting the Civil War, thank God that the Union beat the Confederacy, or black people still be slaves. But then, in addition, thank God there were good white people that had to travel or traverse the lands of Texas and notify people they were free. Thank God for them. We should be celebrating them. Thank you for going and telling people in Galveston that they were free. They didn't fly on an airplane. They had to do a whole trek to make sure that people were free. All right. Let's put this up here right here. This is the most realest thing about Juneteenth that was ever said. Juneteenth celebrates the day that Republicans freed the slaves who were owned by Democrats. That's one thing that people have to remember when you look at history, is that the Democrats were the ones that imposed slavery. They were ones that were in support of slavery. And they were the racist Democrats in the South. They called them Dixiecrats. The Democrats have historically been the party of racism, historically been the party of holding people back, and they're doing the same thing that they have always done. They do it today. Now you're enslaved in your mind. And Republicans are still doing the same thing they were doing, trying to free you from slavery. It was in chains back in 1800s, and now it's in the mind. And some of y'all still enslaved. And then they got the black people enslaved. They want to have the immigrants enslaved. That's what they do. They enslave people.